Have you ever noticed that the great mentors, experienced investors, and even the real sharks of the market always seem distant from those who are just starting out? That they don't respond to messages, don't make space for them, don't pay attention, as if there were a barrier between those who are beginning to build wealth and those who are already navigating the more advanced layers of the financial world. Have you ever experienced this? Because if so, stay with me until the end. What you're about to discover may surprise you more than you imagine. Most people believe that this distance is arrogance, coldness, or even a lack of empathy. But in the real world of personal finance and investments, something much deeper is happening. A silent rule, an invisible filter that no one explains to you, but that controls access to opportunities, mentorship, and conversations that simply don't appear for those who are still at the first level of the game. It's as if there's an invisible gate separating novice investors from those who have already proven consistency, discipline, and responsibility with their own assets. This gate has nothing to do with favoritism, nor with the famous clicks of the market. It has to do with behavior, with intelligent decisions, with consistency over time. And as harsh as it may seem, this silent filter exists because mentors aren't looking for people who want shortcuts. They're looking for people who have already shown that they take their financial journey seriously. Ultimately, money always reveals the same pattern. Consistency attracts consistency. And that's why many only start to receive real attention when they get close to that symbolic milestone of 250K. The point at which you stop being just a curious person and become someone with a proven track record. And perhaps this explains something you've already felt. That discomfort of seeing someone with more wealth receive access to exclusive opportunities. Restricted investments, private groups, and even direct conversations with mentors who have never even looked at you. But before you think it's unfair, take a breath. Because the truth behind this filter isn't about rejection. It's about reading behavior. It's about showing, with actions and results, that you've already left behind the stage of impulsiveness, financial immaturity, and emotion-driven decisions. When you start to truly accumulate wealth in a solid, repetitive, conscious way, the market notices. The right people notice. And little by little, you begin to enter layers that were completely invisible when you were still on the surface. Today, you're going to understand this unspoken rule that no one explains to you. You'll realize why advanced mentors only pay attention to those who have already proven consistency, and why this could be the greatest opportunity of your life, not a barrier. What follows may open your eyes to wealth building in a way you may never have heard before, and this is just the beginning. Now that you understand where this gateway begins to appear, we need to delve deeper and reveal the real reason why this filtering exists. And that's exactly what we'll do in the next part. And while all of this is making more and more sense, perhaps you've already felt this weight firsthand. That feeling of doing your best, but still seeming invisible to those who have already made it. And it's precisely at this point that I want to ask you something, but in a different way, almost as part of this conversation we're having. If this topic resonates with you, if any part of these unspoken truths has already impacted you, or made you see wealth building in a new light, leave a comment below about what has touched you the most so far. Perhaps you've already experienced this feeling of, no one answers me, or perhaps you're exactly in this process of proving consistency, and hearing your experience can help other people who are going through the same journey. And look, take the opportunity to leave your like too, because it really makes a difference. It's not just a mechanical gesture. Each like shows the algorithm that this type of deep, honest, and straightforward conversation deserves to reach more people who are trying to build wealth in a mature and conscious way. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow and reach people who may never have heard about these invisible filters, these silent gates that only open after a lot of financial discipline. And if you feel that this is the type of content that speaks directly to your current life situation, consider subscribing to the channel now. This isn't just another subscriber. It's literally what allows me to continue producing videos like this, maintaining this community of people who want to understand the money game in a serious, genuine, and profound way. Each new subscription is like a sign that there's someone on the other side saying, I want to keep learning. I want to level up. I want to be a part of this. But don't worry, because we still have a lot to delve into. Everything we've discussed so far is just the surface of this silent filter. Now that you understand where it begins, we need to unlock the next layer. The one that reveals why mentors only appear when you prove something far beyond just money. Let's get into that now. And when we start looking at this phenomenon more calmly, we realize something that almost no one talks about. Behind the scenes of the market, advanced mentors aren't looking for raw talents or beginner geniuses, because they know that genius without consistency doesn't change anyone's destiny. What they really observe is commitment, trajectory, the way someone manages their own assets over time. Someone who has accumulated 250K didn't get there by accident, and you know that. That number carries history, discipline, sacrifices, months, sometimes years, of silent decisions that no one sees, but that leave clear marks on someone's financial behavior. It's as if each reel accumulated is proof of the mindset behind wealth building, almost like a record of the internal journey that comes long before the bank balance. Think about it. To reach that level, the person had to study, save even when no one supported them, invest when fear told them not to, get organized when it was easier to ignore the spreadsheet, and resist impulses that bring down most people. This has nothing to do with luck. Much. Less with privilege. It has to do with personal transformation, with difficult decisions, with that hidden truth that only appears when you choose the long term instead of immediate gratification. And that's exactly what attracts mentors. Not the money itself, but everything that money reveals about character, discipline, and vision. When a mentor sees someone who has reached this milestone, what they see is a pattern, not a number. They think, this person takes this seriously. This person won't waste what I have to teach. Because the financial world works like any high-performance field, consistency attracts consistency. It's like that in sports, in careers, in art, and it wouldn't be different in building wealth. It's no use wanting to sit at the shark's table with just good intentions. You need to show that you've already weathered your own turbulent times, that you've overcome impulses, that you've learned from mistakes, and that you've built a solid foundation to continue growing. And that's where a detail that almost no one talks about comes in, but which says it all. That's why serious investors like numbers. They don't look at spreadsheets to judge wealth. They analyze behavior. Numbers don't lie. They don't exaggerate. They don't invent shortcuts. Numbers clearly show someone's mindset. They show if the person has patience, if they know how to wait, if they understand the impact of time, if they can follow a strategy even when no one is watching. For those at this level, financial building ceases to be just about accumulating money and becomes a journey of self-control, of internal revelations, of profound adjustments in the way they see their own future. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject because there's a very specific reason for this silent filter to exist, and it's not related to money, but to the value of time. Before moving on, comment below. That makes sense to me. When we talk about this so-called 250K milestone, many people imagine we're only talking about money, but the hidden truth is that this number acts as an emotional, mental, and even behavioral watershed. It represents a point in the journey where the investor has internalized principles that previously seemed distant, almost abstract. Upon reaching this level, the person not only understands the power of compound interest, they feel its impact in practice, realize how time becomes an ally, how small decisions gain accumulated strength, and how each financial choice carries multiplying consequences. The same applies to risk management. Those who reach this level don't gamble blindly, don't put their entire assets on risky ventures, and aren't swayed by miraculous promises. There's a silent maturity, almost an internal transformation, that begins to guide decisions in a more stable and strategic way. And it's not just about technical knowledge. Those who reach 250K have already learned firsthand why avoiding debt is so important, why impulses can destroy years of building, and why a long-term focus is the only compass that truly works on this path. It's someone who has seen results appear slowly, faced moments of doubt, felt like giving up, but chose to continue. This level of consistency cannot be bought, inherited, or faked. It's built behind the scenes, day after day, with choices no one sees. And it's precisely this mindset that begins to open doors that seem invisible to those just starting out. When a person reaches this milestone, they become attractive for opportunities that simply don't exist for those in the early stages. Not because the market is unfair, but because certain doors only make sense for those who already have the emotional and financial foundation to handle them. That's where private deals, advanced mentorships, closed groups, and even restricted investments that never end up in Instagram ads appear. These aren't secret advantages for the privileged, but layers of the financial game that only reveal themselves when the player demonstrates real preparedness. And, little by little, the quality of the networking changes. Conversations become deeper, connections stronger, and possibilities begin to emerge naturally. It's as if, without realizing it, you unlock the second map of the game, and nobody tells you that this map exists until you are emotionally and financially ready to access it. The market doesn't hand over these doors to those who are still learning to take their first steps. It hands them over to those who have already proven they can walk without stumbling over their own impulses. There's a psychological impact to this. The feeling of finally seeing opportunities that previously seemed like the privilege of others. And this revelation changes not only how you invest, but how you see yourself on your own journey. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because there's an even more powerful reason why this 250K milestone is so symbolic. And it's not just about net worth, but about perception. Before we move on, leave a comment below. I'm on this journey too. When you observe how great mentors choose who they spend their time with, you begin to understand a hidden truth that almost no one talks about. Their most valuable asset is not money, it's time. Money they can multiply, recover, reposition. Time they cannot. And that's precisely why they don't waste this rare asset on those who haven't yet demonstrated a real commitment to their own financial journey. It's not about coldness, elitism, or superiority. It's about protecting what can't be recovered. It's as if they can see, in the subtext of someone's behavior, whether that person is seeking transformation or just a magic solution to shorten the path. And that's where a delicate point comes in. Most people want shortcuts, not process. They want miracles, not strategy. They want quick answers, not construction. It's the kind of mindset that looks for a ready-made formula. A hidden secret. A trick that solves everything at once. And that's precisely what scares away any serious mentor. Because anyone who has walked this path knows that there is no great wealth without time, without mistakes, without difficult decisions, and above all, without patience. Therefore, when someone shows impatience, desperation, or that urgency to change everything in a week, the mentor can tell from afar that there is not yet an internal structure to receive something advanced. On the other hand, when someone reaches 250K, the signs are completely different. This person has already lost money and learned from the setbacks. They have already made bad decisions and corrected course. They have already felt the impact of discipline, of continuing to invest when everything was unfavorable, of not giving in to impulses, of maintaining focus when no one believed. And perhaps most importantly, you have already built a thick skin. You are not someone who collapses at the first challenge. You are not someone who abandons the plan because one week was difficult. There is emotional maturity there, a solidity that only appears after a long time of practice, and many behind-the-scenes events that no one sees. This type of journey completely changes how any teaching is absorbed. A person who has gone through the real process doesn't waste knowledge. They listen differently, understand differently, apply differently. They don't look for shortcuts because they've already discovered that shortcuts don't sustain anything. And that's why, when a mentor recognizes this pattern, they approach. Not because the number is impressive, but because the mindset behind the number shows that their time will be valued. This is where that phrase gains strength. Mentors don't run away from you, they run away from your rushed version. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because there's a central point in this dynamic that explains why advanced opportunities only appear when you demonstrate internal preparedness, not just financial preparedness. Before continuing, write in the comments. That makes sense to me. And when we get to this point in the conversation, we begin to realize that there's something much deeper than numbers, metrics, or accumulated wealth. There's a silent transformation happening within those who choose to grow. And this transformation is precisely what brings you closer to the kind of person mentors are really looking for. It doesn't matter if you have 500 reais invested today or 50,000. What matters is the direction. What matters is the behavior you repeat when no one is watching. Because the financial world always rewards those who can prove, month after month, that they are building with consistency, not speed. Speed awakens anxiety, but consistency creates roots. This patient construction is what shapes a mindset capable of resisting impulses and seeing beyond the short term. Those who learn to think long term discover that every decision leaves a trace, an impact, and that true strength lies in continuing even when nothing seems to change on the outside. That's why processes always beat shortcuts. Shortcuts seem tempting, but they rarely sustain a journey. Processes, on the other hand, create structure, create maturity, create emotional stability to deal with gains and losses without getting lost along the way. And there's also that internal shift that few people realize: investing before appearing. To be an investor, it's not about waiting to have the appearance, the assets, or the recognition. It's about doing what needs to be done, even if it's small, even if no one sees it, even if the reward takes time. That's how financial discipline ceases to be an obligation and becomes a personal trademark, almost like an invisible signature that accompanies every choice. This silent discipline forms the basis for any kind of advanced opportunity because it shows the world, mentors, and even yourself that there is preparation, intention, and responsibility in your path. When this mindset takes hold, the 250K ceases to be an emotional goal and becomes a consequence. It arrives as a natural result of those who have learned to make better decisions, to make better mistakes, to correct them better. And that changes everything. The person who focuses on the process doesn't get stuck in comparison, doesn't despair when results don't appear quickly, and doesn't try to prove anything to anyone. They understand that the greatest asset is what they build from within: maturity, focus, vision, and calmness. And it is precisely this profile that begins to stand out, not because they shout it, but because they evolve. That's why that phrase makes so much sense when you truly understand the game. The shark's door doesn't open with money. It opens with behavior. Money only confirms who you already are. And when that becomes true within you, everything else starts to fall into place more clearly, as if loose parts of your journey finally find shape, direction, and meaning. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject because there's a final detail in this mindset that separates those who dream from those who truly grow. A detail that transforms the entire journey. Before continuing, leave a comment below. I'm on this journey too. If you've made it this far, it's clear that this content has resonated with you in some way, and that already shows how seriously you take your own financial journey. So let me ask you something in a very simple way, almost as part of this conversation we've built together. If this video helped you see things that perhaps no one had explained to you before, please subscribe to the channel. It's not just about numbers. It's because I want to continue bringing you content that makes sense to you, that accompanies you on this transformation, and that helps you stay focused when the world tries to distract you. Subscribing is a sign that this exchange is worthwhile for both of us. And take the opportunity to leave your like as well. After such a profound conversation, a small gesture like this helps this content reach more people who may be exactly where you were one day, seeking clarity, direction, and a stronger mindset to continue growing. Oh, and if you really stayed with me until the very last second, write in the comments, "I'm with you until the end." It's the perfect way for me to know who is truly committed. And it also creates an incredible connection between those who are part of this community. Now, before you go, let me guide you to the next step. There's a video over here that complements this topic and delves even deeper into this mindset that transforms the way you build wealth. Click and continue watching. You'll understand exactly why all of this makes so much sense.